how can caregivers reduce stress and prioritize themselves?
I think the number one thing to remember is that even though you have family caregiver responsibilities, so you're a person who does have those responsibilities, you are allowed to reduce stress. You are allowed to take care of yourself and put yourself first. And the reason I think it's really important to say that is one of the number one misconceptions we have about being a family caregiver is that it is all consuming. And once you take on that role of being a family caregiver, well, sucks to be you. Guess you're just going to have to put everybody else first for the rest of time. And that is not actually true. It is what people are going to tell you, or at least the way people are going to act around you, is like you just don't get to have your own life anymore. And that is the number one myth that we have to completely abolish. I actually am trying to figure out how to create, hopefully, a national movement where there is an expectation that family caregivers will get 8 consecutive hours off every day. That we will stop treating this as 24/7 unpaid labor, and that we will start to say to people we know in our lives, you know, are you taking that time off? Are you getting the sleep that you need? And if not, what do you need? And we just have to remember that we are allowed to have our own needs as individual humans. And I'm going to tell you, it's not an easy thing to do when most of the people around you are, you know, quite frankly, their life is more convenient if you're just taking care of everything. And so it is a matter of you deciding for yourself. I mean, I'm a caregiver too. I know how hard this is. You and I, we have to decide for ourselves that we are allowed to have our own health and our own life and our own sleep. And then once we believe that, the next step is figuring out what do we need? And then, as hard as it is, starting to tell that to people.
So giving yourself permission to take care of yourself, right? I think being self-aware, I know I've heard you talk about this before, that self-awareness of, and even being gentle with yourself. You know, you need to physically, emotionally, and mentally take care of yourself. And so allowing yourself the opportunity to do that and not constantly sacrificing yourself for another person, because if you do that, you're not going to be able to care for that person for a long term. Would you agree? If you're continuing to sacrifice day in and day out and you're not caring for yourself.
Yes. So one of the things that I hear all the time, and it's really something I'm working to change, is I hear people say, oh, you should get some help so you can be a better caregiver. And what I'm here to say is no. You should get some help so that you can be the best person who you are as a person. Now, I don't think it's wrong to want to be a better caregiver. For those of us who have those duties, you know, I think that's virtuous, right? I would like to be a better caregiver, but it's not the only thing in my life. It is not the only thing that I do. And if I get help, it's because I want to be the best person I can be in all situations. And to a lot of people, that's going to sound selfish. And I think the answer to that is okay. I mean, it's okay to be a little selfish here. And I look, if someone is listening to this and really cringes when I even say the word selfish, that's because we're taught to believe that we should never put ourselves first. That's that human giver syndrome that we talked about last week. And it's not true. You know, you're a whole human with your own needs. And that's really okay. So the trick here is to catch yourself every time when you think, oh, I should put this other person first, or it's okay if I don't eat, or it's okay if I don't sleep. You have to catch yourself having those thoughts and doing those behaviors. And then you have a real chance of choosing something else for yourself instead.
Allowing time for rest, exercise, health, physical health, mental health, all the areas, right?
Yes. And those apply to people with caregiver responsibilities, just as they do any human on the planet.